Hello, and welcome once again to Inner Peace Counseling Services. We are happy to be sharing our afternoon with you. Tasha and I just got back from a vacation in the Caribbean, so we are happy. And Sherry's on her
and
way.
nicely tanned and shedding some skin.
Sherry's on her way out the country, so these are some of the ways that we take care of ourselves, and we find it is important that we take these vacations from time to time. And so that brings us to our topic today, which is about the power of self-validation. One of the things we wanted to share with you is about what it means to validate yourself versus always looking outside of ourselves for validation. We often talk to clients about this need to be okay and feel okay and not seek it from other people, because you end up not feeling like you're okay, waiting for other people to tell you that you're okay. And so one of our clients gave a great analogy not too long ago, and so I want to share that analogy as a way to think about self-validation. They described it as a bank, that basically we are often looking for other people to make deposits into our bank. That self-validation, that self-bank, to feel good. And as a result of trying to get it from all these other people, they run on empty. They run low. They don't feel good. And our client shared that, it is important that they realize it is important that they deposit into their own bank. And then before you can deposit into other people's banks, your bank should be full. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how you can do that, how you can begin to deposit into your own bank and the importance of it, what it means to say, I'm okay. I validate myself. I am valid all by myself. When you are born onto this earth, you are okay. You are enough. You are all right. There's all these things that tell us to be different, and we don't have to be. We can like what we like. We can appreciate what we appreciate. We can just have different views of things. We can dress different ways. We can have all kinds of things that is just unique to you, and you're okay. And so that's what we're going to share with you today. More about how to be okay with who you are and how to make your own deposits
into your own emotional bank. Well, one of the key things that Angela just talked about is when you give it away. And I was going to start with something. I'm going to start there because it's powerful, because I was talking to a friend of mine this week about her going through a divorce, and she was asking advice from me because I went through a divorce about how to be okay in the process. And one of the things that she recognized, and I was able to help her recognize, was that she was giving away so much power to other people because she was looking for them to validate how she was feeling. Right. Now, validation is important because we all must learn how to do it. We have to validate people's emotions and feelings, but when we are the person and looking for it becomes a challenge, is because we're giving power away because we're not validating ourselves. Mm-hmm. It's great to find someone that validates how we feel, but then it's even more powerful to already be validated. Mm-hmm. So when someone gives you validation, it doesn't necessarily apply. It just makes you feel better and confirms what you're feeling, rather than crave and pour into you. You're already full enough because you've done your own work towards validation.
It's like they add to the value that's already there. Versus trying to establish value from something someone's giving you, because when they leave, they take it away and you're back to empty.
Yes, perfect example. And that's what she was doing. She was calling her mom and her sister and her best friend and myself and other people. And then still after the conversations were over, she started recognizing that she was still feeling empty. She was still feeling lost and alone and isolated. And then she started, and I gave her a book. The book's name is, and I think I have it here on my Kindle. So as we're talking, I'll let you guys know what it is. It's about validation. It's a really, really, really good book. I read for myself, and I told her that she should look it up as well. It's called I Hear You by Michael Sorensen. The surprisingly simple skill behind extraordinary relationships. And the skill is validation. So that book was a good tool for her when she read it. It was a simple read. It was easy. Right. And you get it on Amazon and probably get it used for like $3. So you don't have to spend $20 if you don't want to. And it was really, really helpful for her because she recognized that she was not validating herself. Right. And she was needing to know what validation really, really was. So when we talk about, empowering yourself and feeling power from validation, the key part of the journey in that book talks about communication. And communication is one of those things that there are so many different variations of it. And I've learned over the years to simplify it. And one of the simplest ways of looking at communication towards validation is going to be capacity and empathy. First towards myself and then towards others. Because that is a key part of communication. A lot of times we go into communication looking for other people to understand me,
Right.
get me. But you're not really assessing does that person even have the capacity to get me?
Right.
Does that person even have the capacity to see me? And then you find yourself, like my girlfriend, feeling isolated and alone, feeling stuck in her own journey that is her journey, but yet she's not finding the tools to validate herself.
Right.
So when you're able to recognize capacity for what it is, it's simple as this. Does this person have the tools to provide the things that I need?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Period. That is capacity. And if they don't, it's okay. But first, do I have the capacity to really, really provide the things that I need? And if I don't, where do I get the tools?
Right.
And where do I go to receive it? And then from there, you're able to say, well, do I have enough empathy, which is what we call the emotional fuel, the emotional deposit bank has that fuel. Do I have enough of that to go ahead and do the work? And that's where the empathy part comes in, because then you're able to step into a different place in your life and be kinder to yourself, be more loving towards yourself, and give yourself the permission to just be okay in that moment, whatever you're going through. And that's why capacity and empathy are brother and sister. They go together.
Right.
They are separate and different, but very, very much so related. And it's important for both of them to be a part of the communication part of the journey when you're looking towards building yourself up. First towards yourself, which is the loving kindness aspect of being mindful. Loving kindness first towards self before I can be that towards anyone else. And if I don't have the fuel, the emotional bank filled with the deposits that I need, then I can't do any of that.
Right.
So what we're trying to help you guys recognize today, the importance of self is so powerful that if you're able to validate self, you can do anything. You can get through anything and you can overcome anything. So start there.
Absolutely. And so just bridging from that is a topic that I share a lot when I'm trying to help people to develop some self-validation tools or to recognize them, is first you have to have some self-esteem. And people will often debate with me, you can give your children self-esteem, you can give the teachers, it's their job to give the children self-esteem, it's mom and dad's job to give the children self-esteem. No, you give them the tools necessary to develop self-esteem.
Right.
Self-esteem, the first word is self. And so it's not about being vain or conceited, but self-esteem simply says that you have the ability to recognize, that means I've spent enough time to see it in myself, and to appreciate, I've come to like this about myself, your best qualities. I'm going to say it again. It just means that you have the ability to recognize and to appreciate your best qualities. That means you have to spend time with yourself.
Right.
One of the first things that we talk about is this investment in self. The first thing you should invest is time. Just be able to be still and spend time. One of the exercises that I give when I'm helping people to develop some self-validation tools or recognize them is I ask this question: what is it about you, or is there anything about you that would entice you to sit down and have a cup of coffee with yourself? Would you have a cup of coffee with yourself? You know, would you sit down and have a cup of coffee with yourself, or have a glass of wine with yourself? Would you sit down and do that with
yourself?
What about you would make you want to sit down and have a cup of coffee with yourself, or a conversation with yourself? What is it about you that if you closed your eyes and you looked inward for a minute would make you say, hey, I want to spend time with that one? Right?
And I can hear some of the women saying, as you're listening to this, well, I don't even like myself.
Right.
How can I sit down and have coffee or tea with myself? But that's the key thing what Sherry's trying to show you is you don't have to necessarily like yourself right now, but you have to recognize that you have skills and tools and talents in you and things that are interesting. And if you just start there by sitting with yourself.
Yes, if you spend some time with yourself, I would challenge you when someone says, there's nothing about myself I like. I say to them, how much time have you spent with yourself?
Exactly.
How do you know you don't like that girl?
Mhm.
How do you know you don't like her? You haven't spent any time with her. You haven't looked at anything that she's doing and assigned value to it.
Mhm.
Because if your expectation is that other people have the capacity to give you that, you're going to be disappointed all
the time, every day.
And I would add though that we need to do it in silence a
Absolutely.
little bit,
Just
or
quiet.
just maybe some background music,
Yeah,
quiet. But
quiet.
it needs to be quiet. It can't be
Yeah.
all this talking
Yeah.
because you get distracted and
Yeah.
you can't focus. And there's so many people that's like, oh, I can't stand the quiet because you can't stand being by yourself. And it's important to learn how to be with yourself
Yeah.
because that's where the growth is.
And that's when you'll discover that there are bits of you, yes, that need work, but there are bits of you, as you said earlier, Angela, that are already okay.
Yes, and then you can like that part of you.
Yeah, that are already worthy of your appreciation. And I think it does require stillness. That's the hardest thing people struggle with, is just to allow themselves stillness. 5 minutes of stillness out of a 24-hour day. You don't have 5 minutes to sit still with yourself.
And it would be important not to sit there in those 5 minutes and just tell yourself everything you did wrong.
Right.
That's not building up your self-esteem. That's not validating you. It is important to start to look at what you did right.
Mm-hmm.
What is working in your life?
Mm-hmm.
Because so often we focus on the negative and we don't focus on the positive. The little things.
And we miss
make
it.
A difference.
You miss
Yeah.
it.
I as a part of an exercise, a mindfulness exercise that I've gone through with people, is that the first thing you have to do when you sit and are still is say something nice to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself a comforting word that you were looking for someone else to give you today.
Mm-hmm.
So that comforting word might only be, you're okay, Sharon. Or that comforting word might be, you know, you're not so alone as you think. Or I like you.
Mm-hmm.
What's something you were hoping that someone would fill you with? You'll discover you can fill yourself with quite a lot of positive energy and just loving kindness if you spent a little time with yourself.
And that goes back into the idea of setting your intentions. We are looking for people to have really strong relationships with us in this life that we're living and be wholesome. But unfortunately, a lot of people, because I do a lot of couples work here at Inner Peace, and one of the key things that shows up a lot, especially for men, is the intention factor. What is your intention? Not just towards your partner or your wife, but what is your intention towards yourself?
Right.
In this act and behavior that you're portraying and projecting out into the world, what is the origination of the thought, which is the intention? If you're able to recognize your intention in doing things, even in validating yourself, you can say, I just want to be happy, right? That is the intention. Or I just want to be valued in my life. Like my girlfriend recognized quickly as to why her marriage was ending, is that I'm in a relationship with someone that does not value me. And I want to live a valuable life. So she was able to set her intentions towards that and change the thoughts that she was having, her mindset, give herself permission, and then go into self-validation. Because now she clearly can say, oh, I'm so valuable, right? I've raised these amazing kids. I'm a businesswoman. I have all these things on the table that makes me great. I like me. So I'm okay with this journey. I'm okay with walking away from a relationship where this person did not value me because I value myself.
So as we talk to you today, you know, it's important that we share, I think, some things that we do to self-validate. And it's one thing that we give to other people, but it is important that us as therapists give to ourselves.
Yes.
To validate not only who we are, but what we do and the value in what we do. And so, like, even starting with vacations, I mean, part of that is permission to take care of ourselves. To say I'm at capacity. There's but so much more I can hear of what's going on in people's lives and stay in my own life. So I need to go take a break from it. I need to have some time to rejuvenate and to just sit sometimes in the quiet, or in our case, listening to the water, the ocean, and just to be in a space that feels good. You know, so being able to take time away and give yourself a break. Like, people work, but you don't give yourself time to come back to yourself and feel good about yourself.
Exactly.
And so those would be, you know, the beginning of some of the things that we do. You were going to share?
I was going to say that every day I try to take what I call my staycation, where I'm not going to answer the phone. You can text, tweet, email, call me, and that there's a certain time of each day, each morning and each evening, where I disconnect from everyone except Sherry. What I have decided, Sherry, you have such value to me that you need quiet. For 10 hours you've spoken, for 10 hours you've poured in. Maybe people poured into you, but let's now sit and evaluate what I do have. And so every day I give myself a staycation or a moment of stillness. You know, sometimes it's over a cup of coffee. Sometimes I'm just sitting on my patio or petting my little dog. But it's quiet. There's no TV. I don't want my husband to talk to me. I'm not answering any texts or tweets. It's my stillness time. It's my time with Sherry. Because I would have a cup of coffee with that girl. I like her. Right? So I give her that. And so it makes me that much more full to share with other people. That's one thing that I do in terms of self-care. The other thing that I do is I give myself permission. And this was really hard for me. And I know that's hard for a lot of my clients. And actually, I give myself permission to say no. And Angela's talked about this a lot in previous presentations that we've given. But I give myself permission to say no unapologetically and without any excuse. Just no. In fact, I've mastered the art of no. I don't say I don't want to. I say I'm not going to do that.
Period.
I don't say
And
I
I
don't want
owe
to.
no one any explanation.
I'm not gonna do that.
No.
So you could ask me to lunch. I'm not gonna say, I'm running kind of short this week, or I'm on a diet. I'm not going to have lunch. I thank you. I'm not having
Thank you for the thought. But
yes.
no.
Unapologetically, I give myself permission to say no, right? Because no gives me power. No empowers me.
Very much.
It lets me know that I'm worthy of boundaries.
Right. Well, I would attach to that, just being able to accept the things that you like that other people don't like. Because so often, the minute someone doesn't like what we like or want to do what we want to do, then we feel bad about ourselves. But it's important that we don't. So let me give you an example on a trip with this one. So we go back to the gift shop because I've been eyeing this like beach dress that has, like little sparkles and things like that. And so it has starfish on it. It's yellow, it has starfish. I just thought this thing was beautiful. That one. I go back, I pick it up. She's like, what you picking that up for? And I said, and she gonna say, with them big old ugly starfish. And I was like, this is the whole reason I'm coming back to get this. Because I love these starfish with these little sparkles on it. As I roll my eyes and go to the counter and purchase.
I know that's right.
My beach dress with my big old bright, sparkly starfish.
Yeah,
And I've had to eat my words because when we got back to the room and she put it on, it was quite lovely. So yes, I ate my words. We have different styles, and our styles work for each of us.
Individually.
It was really funny.
It was funny. But it's so often someone says, I don't like that, and we take it off and put it back.
Yeah.
And then the difference is when you recognize, even with Angela, her ability to look at me and just laugh and look at me like, whatever, was her being able to validate that I know myself enough to know that I like this, and you're not going to change my mind. Right? And that's the power of it. That's why we didn't get into a fight. It could have easily been, I ain't talking to Tasha the rest of this trip. I don't like her because she didn't like my dress and she hates my starfish. But because we have such an intimate relationship and we understand each other, she wasn't going to be offended because she knew I wasn't doing anything malicious.
And because Angela had spent time with herself, she had and likes Angela.
And likes Angela.
She was like, Tasha don't like my starfish. I'm wear my starfish. And Angela's gonna enjoy it. I mean, that comes from
even if Tasha rolls her eyes.
And on a serious note, that speaks to your ability to tolerate and when outside influences. I mean, that was light and fun and a friend. But sometimes when external forces come in, like people judging or criticizing or saying negative things or hostile things to you, you become more fortified if you spent time with yourself, if you've spent time self-validating. They don't hurt as bad.
No.
I mean, it's not like it won't cause you some discomfort, but it won't be like a stab.
No.
It'll be like, okay, no matter what you say I am, I already know who I am.
Right. Period. I'm good with me.
I'm good with me. I like that.
And you feel better when you don't keep changing up to
Mhm.
meet other people's expectations.
Absolutely.
Like, I am solid in what I like and don't like, and that's
Period.
okay. So if you don't like it,
Yeah.
that's on you.
And some of the key things for me when it comes to validation and maintaining my lifestyle and the peace that I've created for myself has been exactly these things. You know, Angela knows me and we've built a relationship. Sherry knows me, we've built a relationship, but I have a relationship with myself.
Mhm.
And the reality of my life is I set my intentions daily. In order to keep my emotional bank full and always at least halfway, is to make sure I set my intentions towards myself daily. Am I going to be kind to myself? Am I going to eat right today? Am I going to make sure I get enough sleep tonight? Am I going to make sure I'm hydrated? Am I going to make sure that toxic people, when they show up, I don't give them any power?
Right.
You know, that's what I do on a daily basis with my meditation and the work that I do and the education of myself. I make sure I put myself in a place where I'm kind to me first. So that if someone comes, like Sherry said, with negativity and toxicity, I don't turn on myself. Because this is what happens a lot with people who don't know how to validate themselves or have poor self-esteem. They will in turn on themselves and say, oh, Tasha doesn't like my dress. So that means Tasha doesn't like me.
Right.
And I don't know why I'm on this trip with Tasha. And and maybe something is wrong with me and my thought about this. And maybe my starfish idea is childish.
Right.
And maybe,
Right.
and then before you know it, you are now disparaging yourself.
Correct.
You're having these
Correct.
self-disparaging thoughts that lead to a whole plethora of things
Right.
that can literally destroy your life and make you unhappy every single day of your life. So protect yourself and preserve your peace, and remember that you have the power to build up who you are and build a really strong relationship with yourself, so you don't require validation from anyone but yourself. It's nice. Don't get us wrong. It's beautiful when we have people in our lives.
Compliment.
That's a testing, though,
Yeah.
for all of us, to
Right.
be able to say, I have a girlfriend or a husband
Mhm.
or a sister or a brother who always validates me because they see me. So those relations just become more powerful because you know how to validate yourself,
Right.
and then you can fully receive it.
And you don't get these wonderful relationships of friendship and relationships with others and husbands or wives unless you first see you.
Right.
If you don't see you, they won't either. They won't be.
Not
no
at
one will be
all.
attracted to that. I tell people that if you don't know who you are, someone will tell you who you are, and you might not like that.
Yes.
You might not like their interpretation of you
Yes.
if you don't spend the time and invest
Right.
the time, the money, your resources, whatever your resources is,
Mhm.
and not just emotional, but also physical.
Right.
Like, I think you need to have movement every day. I think you have to put good physical nourishment, like
Yes.
Tasha was saying, to think about what you're putting in your mouth. I think you have to do that because that's all self-validating.
And I would also add, there are a lot of activities that you can do with yourself and sometimes with other people that are validating. Like, I enjoy the things that I enjoy.
Mhm.
I will start a new recipe because I like baking. I like trying new things.
And then feed it to me.
Yes.
Absolutely. And we will eat it.
I'm here to share.
No.
But I enjoy the process of working through a new recipe and getting it right. I enjoy the process of sitting on my couch and watching some of my favorite shows. I'm a Hallmark queen. I've said this before. So Hallmark Christmas is coming up. And so I enjoy doing those kind of things with myself. I don't need anybody to get a glass of wine and sit on an afternoon and watch several shows back to back. I am just as happy as can be. It is for me. I run everybody else out of the living room. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the fact that I'm not a natural painter, but I like painting. So I practice and I can see myself getting better.
Yeah.
And that validates me and my effort to grow. Like, I don't have to be perfect at this thing. I just want to see my effort and enjoy the process of actually engaging in these activities. So finding these things that make you feel good is part of this self-validating process.
Yes.
And they don't have to cost a lot of money. So we talk about things that you may think cost a lot of money. You may not have those kind of financial resources, but a walk alone is very powerful and validating for me. It's a form of meditation. I go for a walk every day. I go outside and walk. Is part of what I love about the great state of North Carolina.
Yes.
There is no season that I can't
Can't
go
go for a
outside
walk.
and go for
Well,
a
maybe
walk.
February.
Yeah. Tasha, I put on my gloves and the hat.
Oh,
And in February, I'll go for a walk here in North Carolina. So
Right.
I think that's powerful to find things that you like. Like Angela was saying, her favorite show, just chilling on the sofa. Tasha was saying, reading for the enhancement of her information for her own self-actualization and growth. Spending time sometimes, just spending time alone.
And the key thing is recognizing that you have tools and resources to help you with that. You know, I always make sure with folks that we do homework and work through some challenges, that they challenge themselves to look up things too. If folks say, well, there's nothing out here to do, lies you tell. There's a website called Free Charlotte. There's Charlotte on the Go. There's a whole bunch of websites out here that will show you list of things that you may find interesting. Free tastings, free food. You'll be surprised. Free jazz concerts.
Free classes.
Free classes.
But you don't have to have someone to do it with you. So
Exactly.
often you want to be validated that somebody wants to do it with you. But you never know what your experience will be if you just go and enjoy it.
Go right ahead.
And so your friends don't have to like everything that you like. I'm the friend that always bring up the weird ideas of things to try.
And I'm the girl that'll hop on a plane in a second. I don't need no one to go with me. I'm gone. And I'm going to enjoy myself because I like me and I have a good relationship with me, and I don't need anyone to tell me that I can't do something because I'm alone. That's a lie. And that's unfortunate for us today because that lie sinks so deep in social media, television media, and even in our relationships with other people. So recognize that you guys have the power to build up yourself so you can create the great life that you want and just be happy with you. Right?
So what we'd like you guys to do is give us a shout out, like send us a message on Facebook and let us know what you do that self-validates. Help other people think of different ways and just validate that there are ways and it works. So if you will share some of those with us, we would appreciate it. And I'm sure some of our other folks that are paying attention would appreciate it. And we would love to hear from you. And then one other thing, the year 2021, February, we're going to have a retreat.
Ladies, come with us. We're going back to Jamaica, my home country.
We have found a wonderful spot that you guys will learn more about over time. So we're working on putting some of that information on our website. So even if you're just interested in getting more information as we finish putting it together, once we get the information up on the website, then you can just click it and give us your email. So we'll contact you when we have all those details put together. So until 2 weeks, I don't think Sherry will be with us. She'll still be having a great time. We will see you in a couple of weeks. And until then,
thank
have an
you.
awesome time.
See you soon, guys.
Bye. Stay well.